So the first one today, as you can see, is going to be a little exciting and interesting. We have some interesting things going on up here. And this student actually moved here a few years ago. I think I was actually the first teacher I ever met in my sophomore English class. And you know, it's going to be a little different than our normal Red Talks, and he'll kind of explain that in it. He didn't speak much English, he didn't know much English when he originally came here, because he'll tell you where he came from. So here he is talking a little bit about his cultural experiences all the way from Ecuador to Port Clinton, Ohio. His talk is called Fitting the Mold. Please welcome Senior Mason Waggoner.
Hola, mi nombre es Mason, mi nombre completo es Mason y mi discurso será sobre cultura. Well, I'm going to start this off a little differently because I'm a little different. As you can tell, I'm not from here. I'm actually from somewhere called Ecuador. Now, Ecuador is around 2,000 miles away from Port Clinton, or should I say 4,000 kilometers away, in this instance in Italy. Now, there's a whole lot of countries in the world with a lot of different cultures and habits and people. We're only going to focus on the Americas, aka North America and South America. And that's what I'm here to talk about. The differences in cultures and habits of places and the people that inhabit them. Now listen, you guys probably won't believe me when I say I'm an Ecuadorian, because obviously I don't look like one. But I assure you I'm just as much an Ecuadorian as anyone else that has been in Ecuador or lived in Ecuador, because I've spent 8 years of my life in Ecuador and the States. Now, the transition between these two places and cultures has been rather difficult, but it also has been beneficial. It has given me unique experiences. Not only have I learned new languages and new traditions and new ideas, but I have also been able to live 2 different lives and experience the best of both cultures. Let me say an interesting fact about Ecuador. Ecuador is divided into 4 main regions. That being la Sierra, la Costa, la Sierra, el Oriente, y Insular. Now, you guys probably know Insular more as the Galapagos Islands. You know, that weird island where Darwin went to see, to prove his theory of evolution by studying beaks of birds, or also known as the most diverse place on the planet, or it's just a cool place to go. Either way, it's a great place to go. Really recommend it. Now, let's start with the festivity that is mostly celebrated in La Costa, the region that I grew up in. With that, I have celebrated the same festivities and holidays in different places, in both places. For example, we celebrate New Year's in Ecuador, but much, much differently. I even know that you folks like to celebrate New Year's a little differently. And I know that you guys each year rise a walleye into the sky and then smite it down with the force of a god, but I digress. Well, in Ecuador, we still celebrate New Year's, but we also do it a little differently. First, we don't call it New Year's, we call it Quemar el Año Viejo, which translates to something along the lines of burning the old year. Now, in this festivity, we still have the fireworks and whatnot, and it's just normal. It's just we add something called un monigote. Now, that the translation is effigy. Now, this thing with this effigy over here is that we set it ablaze at exactly 12 a.m. in the morning, or New Year's Day. Now, a little demonstration of how we set it ablaze. It's always an interesting thing how it burns and smites and whatever else. Nah, it's not New Year's Eve, not New Year's. The burning of this lovely effigy over here is symbolizes the final cycle and destruction of all negative within the year. Now, I think we can learn a lot from this event in Ecuador. Because in Ecuador, this tradition started in 1905 with burning of corpses of people that caught yellow fever. And it's how the tradition started, a sort of closing of a book and the opening of a new one. And I think that's what my whole talk is about, starting anew and learning how to change yourself for the better. When I mean change, I don't mean change your diet or change your sleep. I mean really change who you are, because you can learn a lot from yourself if you can change yourself. You guys are probably also wondering, why am I preaching to you guys about changing who you are and why you should do it? It's because I've done it. I've done it actually twice in my life. And each time that I did it, I feel like I grew as a person. I've learned more. I've learned how to step up to challenges, and I've learned how to face them head on. And those experiences really helped to shape who I am today. Not only have I learned a lot about myself, but I've learned so much more from others. For example, I've been taught to make chocolate in Ecuador and learned a lot about agriculture. And while in the States, I've learned the true beauty of many new sports and how a true political system works. How the true political system works. And these experiences help shape who I am today. And I think these small experiences what makes us truly unique and what makes us diverse. Let's talk about a little bit about my second favorite region in Ecuador, La Sierra. La Sierra is also known as the mountain region of Ecuador. And this region is probably the most culturally diverse place in Ecuador, having the most indigenous population, having their own ruins, their own special foods, their own little festivities, and their own little language. Alin Apuchun. Also, if we're going to talk about change, we need to talk about the indigenous population in Ecuador, because they have changed and adapted more than anyone in this room, maybe the whole district, even the state, or the country. That being said, I think what they did to survive or adapt to be here is amazing. Their solution is, there are interesting ways in the way they adapted to it. Granted, I'm not justifying what the Spaniards did to them, to the indigenous population of any Latin American country, but think about it. I want everyone to think about it, really think about it. Would you guys have known these people would have existed if they didn't adapt to their situation? You'd probably not even know they existed. And I think it's through adapting. It's part of the path of self-improvement. And I took that path. It's not an easy path, but through hard work and dedication, you can adapt to any challenge and become a better person. Even though I adapted or attempted to adapt to different cultures, there are still little things about American culture that I struggle with. And quite frankly, I think I'm always going to struggle with some cultural differences. Because things are not always an easy path. There are always going to be struggles, there's going to be a bump in the road. There's nothing always truly that easy. I think struggle is also a very interesting word, because it can mean a lot of things. Like, I have struggled with learning 2 languages, or how I struggled to pick up American manners. There's a lot of things that I did in Ecuador that I don't do over here. I don't point with my lips anymore. I don't greet people by kissing them on the cheek. And I even adapting to the cold weather here was horrible. But by passing these challenges and surpassing them, you can struggles and becoming of them. You can always become a stronger person because of it. Or because you can surpass your struggles, you can surpass anything and truly become yourself. Now, I recognize that my ethnicity is different from you guys, and I try to avoid comparing myself to others around me, but when comparing oneself to others, it's easy to get caught up in the differences rather than appreciate the diversity of what you're facing. Now, our differences define us. Our differences define us as people, even people present here. Every single one of you guys is unique. In the 7.7 billion people in the world, everyone's unique here. In this single auditorium, without differences, there is no diversity, and there's no diversity, and we would all live the same boring, monotonous lifestyle that would just bring us down and slowly break us from the inside. And if we cannot have friends who are different and diverse, then we become sheltered and fail to learn about the world around us and the true beauty of diversity and culture. And we as a society move forward and progress when we start to recognize or capitalize on each other's differences. In other words, you could say we develop a culture. So take it from me, the quirky kid from Ecuador. No matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter what language you speak, embrace diversity. Learn to love what makes you different, and no matter where your journey takes you, adapt, adjust, learn to change for the better while staying true to yourself. Thank you, and I mean thank you to all here, especially my speech class and Mr. Miller.
So first of all, let's guys, Mason understood what I said at the beginning. Mason was not great with English a few years ago, and he just gave this talk in front of people. So give it up one more time for Mason Waggoner. So that is a really thing to do. Right next to his effigy. Okay, are there any questions from the audience for Mason? I see one in the back. Go ahead.
You talked about all the differences that you see. What's
Yes.
the most startling similarity?
Different skin color. Probably is the biggest.
Oh, because you didn't see that in Ecuador?
No.
Okay, so the diversity.
Yes.
So you feel it's more diverse, but what's similar?
Oh, yeah, what's the most similar?
What's the most similar? What's the most similar? I don't know, family customs, like keep family close. Always keep close, always part of family.
What's a custom in Ecuador that's similar to here in America?
Food is an interesting one.
Is there a certain holiday or anything like that?
Most holidays are the same.
Okay.
Just add special differences to it.
Gotcha.
We don't-
Christmas?
Oh yeah, we do celebrate Christmas.
Cool. So holidays. Any other questions from the audience?
Any facts about Ecuador?
No? This is his brother. No, it's okay. If you think of it, just let us know. Any other questions from the audience? So Mason, I guess one question we hear a lot is what inspired you to do this talk. So when they're given this assignment, they have to come up with an idea that interests them, and they feel like they need to share with people. Why would you feel like you needed to share this?
I share this because I feel like my story is not told. I'm a very quiet kid. I don't talk much to people, and I think this is a very interesting thing that people need to learn about.
Okay. Very cool. Lily? A good memory he has from Ecuador.
A good memory that I have from Ecuador. Okay. I remember staying up to ever so late at night watching the effigy burn, just thinking of my future.
So how does that work in Ecuador? So he's talking about, that's an example of an effigy, which I get to keep in my room by the way. So on New Year's Eve at midnight exactly, you light those on fire?
Yes.
And where are people doing that? In their yards?
No, on the road.
On the road?
We set them all across the road.
So basically, at near midnight on New Year's Eve, essentially roads close in Ecuador and everybody goes out to the roads and burns those?
Yes.
Okay, and that's safe?
Yes.
Okay. And there's, I mean, like everybody does it?
Yes.
Okay, so you spend time building these?
Yes.
Okay. A lot of yes. All right, one more question, Alyssa.
When you build them, are they supposed to like represent like a certain person, or you just
No, it's not Jonah. No, it's just, I just went traditional. This is just clothes that I just are running around between my dad and I and whatever. So it's just, he's just come out to be how he is. I mean, you could do something that you hate. What we typically do is we do politicians. We burn them.
Oh, okay. So there's some purpose behind what you build.
Yeah, so we could burn a couple politicians, Not gonna mention which ones, it's just, we could.
Gotcha. All right, any other last second questions? Okay, we have a lot of this time. Let's go here.
So when you brought it out through America, you learned what a real political system is.
Yes.
Could you further elaborate on that?
Democracy. Ecuador, actually back in 2000, I want to say 19, we went through I think it's called a recession where it went communist for 1 week. So yeah, the political system is pretty corrupt over there compared to over here. So yeah, it's fresh air, I guess you could give it.
Democracy. All right, Beth.
Will you continue this tradition here in the States with your family over democracy and passing that down?
We'll have to see for that one.
You haven't done it since coming back?
No, not really, because I thought it was illegal.
Just curious, how have you spent you've been back here for 3 years?
Yes.
How have you spent your New Year's?
I don't know, sitting around, set off fireworks and stuff like that.
Okay, so like the normal kind of American.
Yeah. I don't want to just start filling up the road with junk. It's cultural appropriation.
Don, do you remember yours? Okay, go ahead and then we'll wrap up.
Do you remember that the money was that small from up to like the ground?
Oh yeah, these things get like to 20 feet tall, if you could. Oh yeah, we fill them up with explosives. That's where it's interesting. Because you don't know when it's going to blow. Okay? That's when it really gets interesting. So you truly celebrate this day.
The top video, YouTube search tonight in Port Clinton is effigy Ecuador. I think we're all finding some pretty cool stuff to see. So we are going to wrap it up here. We got to do another one. Guys, I'm really proud of him, and you should be too. Let's hear it one more time for Mason.